A database holds all your important information, but don't you want to know how to see it? I'm sure you do, so keep watching to find out how to. Okay, we're going to open our database up, and you can see that we've added some extra rows here. We've even changed the table to add an extra column called week. So if we look at our data, we have week 1 and week 2. So again, if we want to look at all of our data, we can use the select all SQL statement using the asterisks. We run that and we can see that we have all 8 rows. So we can scroll down to see the results. So we'll start looking at the select from where. So if we want to look at the first week, we can say week equals 1. So that means that we only see the rows that meet that condition. So week equals 1 or week equals 2. We can do another column, surname. So we're going to look at the surname equals Smith. So we run that and we can see we have 4 records where the surname equals Smith. Perhaps we just want to see one of the Smiths. So we can use single or double quotes, that doesn't matter. So if we just want to see one of the Smiths, there's 2 there, we can use the surname and the name. So we have select from where, and we have another and. So we have 2 things that we're looking at, surname and name equals John, and you can see now we have the John Smiths. So we can use where and then a condition and then and a condition. Okay, so if we look at 2 surnames, well obviously if we use where and, that's not going to work. So we have no rows that have both surnames. So we can change the and to an or. So we have select all from friends where surname equals Smith or surname equals Thomas. So that will select all those rows with the surnames Smith and Thomas, and we can order by the score descending to put them in high score first, order downwards. So if we want to choose something from a column and there's more than one value, instead of using where and, we can use the term in. So here we have where surname in Smith and Thomas, and that will show us the same rows. Alternatively, we could use not in. So that's the opposite. So those are the rows where Smith and Thomas are not in. Those are not surnames in those rows. So we can use in and not in. Again, we can use the condition and another condition. So here we have surname in Smith and Thomas, but here we only are going to look at week 1, or we can look at week 2. So we can use these conditions, if you like, to select which rows we want to see, and we can do more than one, and we put them all in the where part of the select statement. So let's look at the score. Here we have score equals 53, which is quite straightforward. We select the 2 rows where the score equals 53. We can add another or part, so score equals 64. So there we have the rows where the score equals 53 or 64. Be careful if you try to use the 53 or 64, the results will not be correct, not what you're looking for. So be careful that the syntax is correct. So again, we can look at score is greater than 53. Now that gives us all the scores, but it doesn't include 53, the scores that are over 53. If you want to include 53, you have to do greater than or equal to. So the 2 symbols together. If you get them the wrong way around, you'll see here there'll be a syntax error message. So it's greater than equal to 53. Another word you can use is between. So if we want to see scores between 60 and 70, we can say where score between 60 and 70. And there you can see the scores. We can make that easier to see by putting them in order. Again, order by score descending. There we go. So now we have the 4 rows with the scores between 60 and 70 in highest score first and then downwards. And if you want to add another condition, we can just put an AND statement and week equal to. Remember to put the AND after the where part because the order by comes at the end. So therefore we have a select statement of a where, an AND and an order by.